I think we're going to be entering into a new era of politics. I don't think it's possible. I don't think any of us has a sort of global crystal ball that will tell us exactly how this is going to work out. But we're on the edge of huge changes, I mean political changes, not just the economic changes. Because at the moment we're still stuck largely in a discourse and a narrative which is about simply how do we get back to where we were last year? How can we continue as we were going? How do we resurrect the status quo? I don't detect yet much discussion. There is a little bit, but very little discussion about how do we actually address the ideas and the thinking that caused this problem in the first place. I think that's still to come, and it's going to lead to a huge political, very contentious political period. I think ordinary people have to respond by actually raising these questions, and they're just not being raised. It's not just a question of, why did the banks fail? The technical reason. What is the paradigm that has brought about the financial collapse at the moment? So it means going back and exposing and questioning the thinking and demanding answers and actually putting forward other suggestions and other proposals. So it means, I think, a much more assertive view than simply, there's something that's happened, it was unfortunate, no one saw it. It's not true. Many people have been seeing this and forecasting it for some time, and there are other models. But all of that debate hasn't really started because everyone really, at this stage, is so focused on closing down the debate to how can we get back to where we were, rather than saying, how did this really happen? I think what the G20 need to do is actually start from fundamentals, start from the psychological and philosophical point on which this whole debate was predicated. That somehow, through the working of the invisible hand, markets intersecting by humans pursuing their own personal, material definition of their well-being would somehow bring about, in aggregate, a great benefit for humankind. It's proved to be entirely false. It was based on a false psychology because human beings often end up by being both avaricious and dominating. And it hasn't worked, and it needs to be addressed fundamentally as a starting point for this. This is exactly the sort of white man's club of people who are engaged in preserving and manufacturing the status quo that does need to be challenged. I'm not quite sure which is the best way. The people here are much better placed to decide how to challenge it, but I think there are two elements. One may be in terms of a demonstrative effect to show that there are other points of view, but the main point of view is actually to challenge the whole thinking, some of the thinking, some of the ideas and some of the principles on which this view has been based for so long. And that is quite a difficult thing to do, particularly in the context of the media and the corporate media, which will be largely presenting this as a huge stride forward to getting back to a stable economic system, by which they mean the very unstable and very unbalanced economic system that is just in the process of collapse.